Hey everyone, welcome back to lesson one. So, this is just the introduction, and that's a picture of me the day I launched my podcast back January 29th, 2015. And so, I'm just excited to give you this course. Lesson one is going to have three modules: building compost, local manure, green manure, cover crops, and growing healthy soil. Um, we're going to talk about getting a compost collector, and then where you throw your compost, you're going to decide where you're going to put your bin, what are you going to erect. And so I always talk a lot about my favorite compost collector was this one that Mike built for me for our 14th anniversary. And there's two things I love about it. One, it's right outside my kitchen, so it's really easy to use. And two, it's got those slats in front that are removable, so you can build it up and put like a foot of compost or two in there. But then it's really easy to take those slats out, and then you can just empty it super easy. So we're going to talk about composting. We're going to talk about, because healthy food starts with healthy soil, manure. If you're going to get chickens, if you're going to find a local source for your manure, you're going to buy bags at your local Home Depot or big box store, or you're going to find a source for soil enhancements. One of my very first guests in episode 4, Peggy Jean Owsley, who is a local woman from a local nursery, talked about make sure you know where your manure is coming from. Cows should not be eating weed-free hay. So we'll talk about that. And then also the last one, cover crops. We'll get more into this when you get your design, but something to keep in the back of your mind now, looking at seeds and resources. Just remember, a cover crop is basically a crop you grow for the soil. And Jess Pierce was on my show. She talked about they grow 60% of their growing area in these crops that can provide both food for ourselves and food for the soil. John Jevons wrote the book How to Grow More Vegetables in Less Land Than You Ever Thought. And she came from where he teaches his center down in California. I also spent a lot of time this summer studying Anna Hess's Homegrown Humus, Cover Crops in a No-Till Garden, which is a great primer. You can't go wrong with that. It's easy to read. So here's a picture of Jess, and she talks about where we're trying to grow these crops that will help maintain soil fertility. So what that means for us is we want to grow crops with a lot of biomass. So we have more materials to use in compost. So grain is a great example of the crops we can grow that have the potential to grow tall, long stalks to give us for compost building. But they also provide us with food and grain we eat ourselves. So we grow 60% of our growing area in these crops that can provide both food for ourselves and food for the soil. So I think that's a big thing you're going to learn. So I hope you're not intimidated. Healthy food starts with healthy soil. We're going to go through the basics of building compost, sourcing some local manure, and growing some of your own cover crops. And if you've had any problems with compost, Mike and I are here to help you. Don't hesitate to reach out to us. I consider that one of the clean jobs around here. It's something I do. If you listen to my podcast, you know I'm not as much the gardener as the eater, although I've certainly come a long ways. But composting is just something that comes naturally to me. And if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But I hope that you'll be inspired to start a compost program at your school by the time you're done and find out how easy it is to save that black gold. So here we go on to lesson one, module one.